Okay, I did my homework on Akeisha Irving Knox and find out that she attended historical black colleges. And I'm wondering, what did you learn there? Did you even learn much about the civil rights movement and how we are still in the same civil rights movement? And I attended Louisiana Tech, which is the sister university of Grambling. When I pledged Omega Psi Phi, I went through line, basically the pledge process with Grambling. And what I always noted or recognized is Grambling having smaller portion of people attending there every year there was campus shootings. And these are people who are trying to make changes for their families, by getting a college education. What has historical black colleges really taught y'all? With Mary McLeod Bethune, and her efforts, and with Harriet Tubman, just female leaders. And here you are now in a position of authority and can directly impact the protection of civil rights. I noticed that you are biased toward mothers. In your statement, whenever you ran for the office, you mentioned something about the judges treating females wrongly in the court, even the attorneys. And that was something that you wanted to change. But now that you're a judge, you're not being held accountable. And you're, in essence, promoting a ugly reflection upon women in the rights for equality, simply because you fail to yield to reason, you fail to rule logically without emotions, understanding that females, XX chromosomes, y'all have a hormone imbalance. And I feel sorry for women. I got 6 sisters and was a mother's boy, and I protect my mother, I protect my sisters. But what I learned through that process is a lot of times they don't come about being mature women. They're still very childish, and they try to pull off stuff that, being a grown person, they should not. And that's what I wonder. What have you actually learned at that white lawyer firm that you practice at? Are you indoctrinating their trend? But that's basically what you're doing. You're following their trend in some regards. Well, I know it's not dealing with civil rights. You sue for other issues. But as far as bringing civil rights to the forefront of being a problem with the judicial system, you are falling far short. And it's a reckless reckless trend that you are contributing to, with, let's say, the violation of fathers' rights, the violation of Judicial Code of Conduct. You're trying to suppress a father's freedom of speech, rights, man. You're violating the law yourself in so many, and you are a judge who should know far more about the judicial system and the injustices that have plagued our people throughout Americans' conception. That's just unacceptable, Nikisha. Seriously. You have 2 children. What if you were withheld from your 2 children wrongly? How would you feel? How would you react? Would you just bow out, be a pushover to the system that has been unjust to the black people? Like I said, since beginning of the American system, do you not understand that slavery used to divide families, father from the children, in order to undermine the male authority within his family, to not make him the protector? That's what I am, especially for my children. And as you can see, I served. So my service was to fight for people who could not fight for themselves. And I just don't understand niggas in New Orleans. Goes back to the thing that white people said. The one thing that they feared was educated niggers, ignorant folks who don't yield to reason, unreasonable. So there's no sense of justice that has been through you, an individual who has taken on a position that has so much weight, has so much responsibility. You're acting irresponsible, escalating court causes, going off unsubstantiated evidence, trying to suppress my freedom of speech. HBCU graduate.
Okay, this is just for documentation of all the different issues I've been having concerning racism. I worked for Northrop Grumman. I tested first class, but was given third class by Bob Terry, shorting me of pay, which I was over the Bob Hope fleets, supervising the work of first class electronic techs and electricians. Here, I joined the union out in California, IBEW, and was indoctrinated January 18th, to which they gave me the classification inside journeyman wireman, but refused to give me the pay that came along with it, which was $48 an hour. They kept me at $28 an hour. Here's basically an arrest in Shreveport where my stepson ran over me with the car and all the different issues I had to face with the courts, the internal affairs, denying that I had a claim, going before the Civil Service Board, and they telling me basically I had a lawsuit against the city, to which I declined because Shreveport is my home, and I'll forgive them. But here's a citation I got for speeding, photo enforced speeding ticket, to which they could not identify the driver, being a moving violation, which is mandatory by Louisiana laws. They choose to abuse it, and they confiscated my car, which had my back brace device that was supposed to help my bone rejuvenate. Here, I basically was smoking a cigar. Cops rolled up on me, took the item out of my hand, asked me what it was, and then wanted to charge me with simple possession of marijuana. These are just three of the 6 court appearances that I had to make before the charges got dropped, because never did the officers appear in court. This one here, I worked for Shell Offshore and had the good old boys basically give me a bad rating of my performance, whereas I was on Brutus TLP and they had a black guy that was over the ship, and they didn't want another to be under another black guy. So they blackballed me and didn't give me my position after internship here. I worked for Clary. E&I out of Texas had an issue with the foreman. He was needed at another job site. I suggested that they have a older guy who was definitely had the experience to be foreman. Lines were crossed, and they showed me their racist side, and I declined to work for them anymore after that. Here is my invention. I came up and submitted to Universal Consulting Agencies, whereas I came up with the throat wrap, providing a means of applying a hot or cold pack to the region of the area in 97. And in 2000, Thermacare came out with their product, which is the 3 years times that it takes to get a patent. Here, my lawyer lost his license, failed to communicate with clients, resulting in 8 patents and trademark applications going abandoned. And this is just documentation of my payments to Bode, George Bode. And here's another one that shows that his license was suspended. Here, presently, issues I'm going through in court concerning my kids. I've written in White House. I have written and got official documents from the city of Shreveport concerning my ex whenever she got arrested for filing a false report. State of Louisiana, informing them of what's going on as far as the judges not abiding by the Judicial Code of Conduct. That was the Attorney General right there. This is the governor. And then my many correspondence with the Judicial Commission of Louisiana, Office of Special Counsel, who is turned a blind eye to my complaints of judicial misconduct, saying that they were unmerited. You can see how many times I've written them, trying to, figure out what's the thing that I'm missing, possibly. Here's my courts for recently going for my kids, and she's basically saying, page 6, 7, whatever, that I just mainly want to see my kids. And page 6 or 7, the judge concludes that there's no violence and no reason for a restraining order, and was gonna place a civil injunction, but whenever I objected, because she was just going off of allegations of a admitted liar who was charged with filing a false report in a court of law, she took offense to that and subjected me to an 18-month restraining order for my kids when there was no violence or threat of domestic violence present. So here, this is when we're talking about the protective order. I was standing up for my rights, what they're not used to here, with people knowing their rights and forcing others to abide by them. There's a bully system here enabling. So trying to show you this is not random, the racism that I've been facing here, and then the abuse of power from my own people is just not acceptable. And in my effort to make Louisiana better than when I came here, born here, served the Louisiana Army National Guard here, I'm addressing unacceptable activities. So just to document some of the issues I've been facing. I'm choosing my battles, definitely. Okay, here's my EEOC claim against Costco Corporation, who they told me after 3-month time I would go on salary. Well, I would go on get my sales commission, but they didn't put me on commission until after 6 months. The EEOC gave me a notice to sue because they said they didn't find anything that they had done, but that doesn't mean that they didn't do anything wrong. So that's where I've come up about the understanding that the only way evil prevails is when good people do nothing. And that's what's happening ever since the civil rights. A lot of people in positions, they're just not doing their jobs.